stormy rains approach, frost awaits, and a spectacular weekend turnaround. Hello to all viewers tuning in to the weather report on Mr. Tien channel. We meet again on a morning that, depending on where you are, might be soaking wet, freezing cold, or surprisingly dry. That's right, today's weather picture is divided into 3 contrasting layers, each with its own fascinating atmospheric behavior for us to explore. The West. Rain pouring non-stop. Right at this moment, the rain is pouring heavily across the entire western region. If you stepped outside and heard the tit-tosh sound right by your ear, that's not your imagination. A large band of rain is crawling along this area, expanding, thickening, then gradually weakening, yet still enough to make the morning of tens of thousands of people drenched. Not only rain, this band is also pulling along some migrating birds that are heading northeast. They're circling around Northern Ireland, creating a scene that, if you look closely on radar or high-altitude cameras, appears as tiny moving specks. Fascinating. The East. A dry start, but not exactly comfortable. Meanwhile, in the East, the day begins. Fairly okay. Just fairly, because the air still carries a slight biting chill. However, dryness is a big plus, especially since this area only sees a few scattered showers across Shetland. Those who need to travel early may breathe a sigh of relief. Short-term forecast. Rain pauses, then returns stronger. One notable point. The current rain band will gradually weaken and drier air will appear on Friday morning. But, going along with that will be early morning frost and fog. Cold air sinks downward, winds ease, humidity near the surface gets trapped, creating ideal conditions for frost to coat many roads. But then, before temperatures can warm up for long, a new, stronger, more persistent band of rain starts pushing in. Saturday morning. Widespread rain, strong winds, slow movement. This is a stubborn weather system, moving very slowly, and once it reaches a region, it tends to stay for several hours. Winds within this system are noticeably stronger, especially along the western and southwestern coasts. Today's developments. Northern Isles showers are still slapping continuously since early morning. This is the first area affected by the chain of atmospheric disturbances. Mainland Scotland. In contrast, skies are clearer. Morning sunlight slips through layers of clouds, creating a relatively pleasant atmosphere, at least before the rain arrives later in the day. Southwest Scotland, Northern England, Northern Ireland. These areas will see heavier rains during the morning. The rain band from the Western Isles is dropping southward, spreading quickly inland. East Wales, Midland, South Central England. A long stretching rain band weaves through many regions. However, the good news is that clouds are thinning behind this rain band, allowing brighter weather later on. But bright patches after the rain. Exactly, after the early showers. Some areas will unexpectedly be gifted with bright skies. Northern Scotland, some eastern counties, southern and western coasts. These blue sky intervals won't last too long, but they're enough to lift your mood after a wet morning. Has strong winds in eastern Scotland and far eastern England. These winds aren't storm level, but strong enough to make you hold onto your hat when walking outside. High humidity plus cold wind feels 1 to 3 degrees Celsius colder than actual temperatures. Overall temperatures today are similar to yesterday, not significantly up or down. Clear shift of seasons. Frost and fog on Friday. 2 things are happening simultaneously. Rain is fading northeastward. Thick gray cloud layers are gradually peeling away, giving room to clearer skies over land. Cold air moves in, bringing frost Friday morning. Many areas may wake up to frost-coating leaves, car roofs, even parts of the road. Fog may appear in scattered areas as well, particularly in valleys and lower terrain. It will be distinctly cold but bright with some gentle golden sunshine, the classic early winter signature. Hash rain returns from the west. Mid-morning, around mid-morning Friday. Northern Ireland, Wales, West Country will once again receive heavier rains from the west, and this rain band is known for being persistent. Once it arrives, it stays for several hours before slowly drifting eastward. By the afternoon, rain moves into southwest Scotland, eastern English counties. Not too intense, but enough to turn an expected dry afternoon into a damp one. Friday from now until Saturday, sequential developments. The rain band will continue spreading northward, then weaken into scattered showers. Temperatures recover slightly, not a big jump, but enough to ease the biting cold. Summary. Friday, cold, bright, rain returns from the west. Saturday, widespread rain, stronger winds, slightly warmer. Sunday, open forecast, possibly variable, but trending milder than earlier in the week. Jet stream shifts, deepening lows, thick, relentless rain from now until next week. Although we have officially stepped into the meteorological winter, if anyone is waiting for snow, let me say this up front. Today is not a snow day. There is still plenty happening above our heads, but the spotlight is still on rain. Lots of rain, continuous rain, rain to the point where it feels like the sky is being wrung out. But to understand why, let's look upward, where the giant atmospheric conveyor belt is deciding the fate of our weather for the entire coming week. The jet stream misalignment. Low after low after low. From above, the jet stream is showing a very interesting misalignment. East of the UK, the jet stream runs north-south, weak and slow. Over the Atlantic, it flows west-east, stronger and more stable, like an atmospheric conveyor belt. And that conveyor belt is dragging one low-pressure system after another straight into the UK, which explains why. Rain from now until Friday, Saturday is inevitable. Before one band finishes, another rain system charges in from the south, and most notably, a strengthening low-pressure system is beginning to form. The shifting jet stream, carrying more warmth and moisture. Over the next 4 to 5 days, the jet stream will dip further south. That means it starts dragging warmer air from the Atlantic. Low-pressure systems get energized, stronger and deeper. Warmer air holds more moisture, which means thicker, longer-lasting, heavier rain. Simply put, the jet stream is fueling moisture-loaded low-pressure systems. Eastern UK, weak jet stream, lows get stuck. A crucial detail, the jet stream over eastern UK is too weak. The consequence? Low-pressure systems cannot move quickly into Europe. They stall, lingering over the UK. The longer they stay put, the more they dump rain. This is why the next 10 days look like the map has been splashed with water. The soil is already saturated. Water can't drain fast enough. Localized flooding becomes a real possibility. Thursday, the first front arrives. The first weather front arrives Thursday with small low-pressure pockets forming along its edges. This slows down the clearing of rain, extending wet conditions across eastern UK. Thursday morning will generally be wet, gray, gloomy from dawn. Later, brighter spells appear with scattered showers. But right after this brief clearing, temperatures drop significantly under the night sky. Thursday night, Friday morning, frost and fog. With clear skies and lighter winds, frost will develop across many eastern areas. Dense fog is likely across East Anglia and the southeast on Friday morning. If you need to head out early, be prepared for severely reduced visibility. Har Friday, a new low arrives. After the morning fog, from the west, a developing low moves in. Compressed isobars signal strong winds and heavy rain. Weather will turn wet and windy from noon through the evening. Into Saturday, this low continues bringing scattered showers. However, there will be a short break Saturday night into Sunday before. Sunday, new front, new rain. Another front arrives, bringing persistent rain, some heavy bursts, widespread gloom. Before our attention shifts back to the southwest Atlantic, Monday, a strengthening low is forming. The low-pressure system we've been tracking is strengthening, pulling in warm air, gathering moisture, developing far out in the Atlantic. Even though it is far from the UK, the system may bring heavy rain, strong gusts, especially affecting the southwest of England. However, the exact center of the low remains uncertain. All models agree on one thing: rain and low pressure. Although the European model and the Met Office model differ slightly, they agree on this. Low pressure sits somewhere west or southwest of the UK. Westerly, southwesterly winds dominate. Rain focuses on western and southwestern regions. Temperatures stay mild, not cold. Even into the middle of next week, models show a 40 to 50% chance low pressure continues to dominate. The wettest zones remain southwest England, West Wales, western and eastern Scotland. Mac, next week's temperatures. Mild, no severe cold. Ensemble charts show London temperatures around 10 to 11 degrees is warm for winter. Even the coldest ensemble members barely reach freezing. In Edinburgh, the trend is similar. Cold Friday morning, then gradually milder. In other words, no signs of extreme cold in the next 7 to 10 days. But the rain keeps coming. This week's key points. Jet stream shift, relentless low-pressure systems. Continuous rain for the next 10 days. Saturated ground. Risk of localized flooding. Friday, frost fog morning, heavy rain afternoon. Weekend, repeated lows, heavy rain in southwest North Wales, East Scotland. Early next week, strong Atlantic low approaches. Temperatures, mild, no deep freeze. And yes, if you think this week's weather will be gentle as we approach the end of the year, absolutely not. We are stepping into an extremely dynamic phase, to the point where if you look away from the map for just a few hours, another new vortex pops up. Let's start with the biggest picture, the origin of all developments, the Atlantic region off the coast of Canada. From the Atlantic to Europe, the journey of a series of powerful vortices. Right now, Eastern Canada is launching a strong vortex system, not officially named, but acting very much like a fully fledged storm. This system will cross the North Atlantic and head straight toward Ireland and the United Kingdom as we move into the weekend. Accompanying it are huge bands of moisture, signaling heavy rain, strong winds, large offshore waves, and the possibility of a mix of rain and snow in some northern areas. But that is only vortex number 1. Right behind it, another vortex continues chasing, moving farther north across the North Atlantic. Meanwhile, let's look down toward the southern part of the map. Near Portugal and Spain, there is a small but persistent vortex quietly moving inland as we step into next week. It's small but punchy, because these low-pressure subtropical systems often bring sudden showers, swirling, unpredictable cloud bands, the potential to trigger strong evening thunderstorms. At the same time, in the Mediterranean region, the weather pattern is extremely active and chaotic. Italy, southern Europe, and the entire Balkan region are facing risks of heavy rain, strong winds, and even snow in higher elevation areas. Tonight's pattern and the weekend, a soaked Europe with stacked vortices. Here's the overall picture for tonight. Moisture bands stretch from France to Germany and up toward Denmark. Scattered rain will appear over Ireland, the UK, the Netherlands, Belgium, northern Germany, northern France. And by Friday, the pattern immediately becomes denser. Ireland, United Kingdom. A large rain band will hit Ireland first, then sweep straight into the UK on Friday morning. By late in the day, in higher areas near Scotland, there will start to appear white patches on the radar map, meaning sleet or wet snow returning. Norway, Iceland, Sweden. Farther out in northern Europe, large vortices continue pushing moisture into Norway and Iceland. This whole region will experience heavy coastal rain, thick mountain snow, strong winds accompanying each passing vortex. Main hotspot, the Mediterranean and the Balkans, where water pours from the sky. This is the area of greatest concern in the coming days. Tonight and tomorrow, a major rain band is sweeping from Albania across Greece, Montenegro, Kosovo, North Macedonia, and even extending back into Slovenia and Croatia. This region will see heavy to very heavy rain, intermittent but recurring showers, risk of flash floods and landslides in hilly terrain, strong waves along the Adriatic coast. A low-pressure pocket is also preparing to move toward Turkey, bringing thick clouds and heavy rain to the western and northwestern parts of the country. Rainfall totals through Saturday. Who will be hit the hardest? Let's take a look at the expected rainfall. United Kingdom, Ireland. Some areas may receive 60 to 100 millimeters within just 48 to 72 hours. Pay special attention to Western Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France, northern Spain, Portugal. Southwestern France, northern Spain, and northern Portugal are expected to see 20 to 40 millimeters commonly. Mountainous areas may exceed 50 millimeters. The Balkans, Greece. This is the biggest hotspot. Many areas in the Balkans may reach 100-150 millimeters. Coastal and mountainous parts of Greece may exceed 150 millimeters. Risk of localized flooding, waterlogging, and landslides. If you're living in these areas, please prepare safety measures in advance. Snow, current depth and upcoming developments. Heading farther north, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, all have existing snow cover from previous days. Incoming systems will add a fresh layer of snow, increase snow depth in mountainous regions, create slippery conditions on mountain passes. In southern Europe, snow will be less widespread, but in the Alps, northern Italy, Slovenia, Croatia, high elevation areas, a thin new layer of snow is possible as moisture meets descending cold air. The sneaky vortex from the Canary Islands, next week's surprise factor. An interesting detail. Southwest of Europe, near the Canary Islands, a small vortex is quietly moving north-northeast, potentially impacting Portugal and Spain early next week. These types of vortices can sometimes rapidly increase humidity, trigger unexpected rain, cause coastal wind gusts, and in rare cases organize into a stronger system. We will continue to monitor this closely. Conclusion: Europe enters a super active weather week. Heavy rain stretches from Ireland to Greece. Snow continues building up in northern Europe. A series of vortices cross the Atlantic one after another. Subtropical systems in the south add even more complexity. Risks of localized flooding, strong winds, and snowfall in many areas. If you're watching this update from any affected region, leave your location in the comments. I will analyze the specific rain, wind, snow situation for your area in upcoming updates. Thank you for joining, and wishing you a safe, warm, and peaceful evening amid the stormy days ahead.